Billy is in charge today. Mike is allegedly someone who is taking a step back. No Stugotz today. And Billy, you didn't tell me we were on the air. You didn't seem to know we were on the air.
Well,
my microphone went on. The video went on.
Yeah.
And the first act of business, and Billy in charge, is no one has told me we're live.
Well, I mean, I got 8 minutes notice that I was in charge today. But what happened was I was getting a countdown in my headset from video that I thought everyone was getting. I wasn't told that I had to repeat that countdown to everyone. So
okay.
Yeah, we're here, though. We're
Regardless,
fine. Let's just keep it. Yeah,
that's right. A rough and rugged
train
start.
on the tracks.
That's right.
No one even knew, Dan.
So,
we
Billy,
could have played it off.
When I give a countdown to everybody, you never found that weird?
Well, I didn't know that Jason was giving you a countdown in your headset, you know?
Yeah.
You like to
That's a
talk,
good
too,
point,
so I just thought you liked
actually.
being the countdown person.
We also are not really sure who's hearing what through the headsets sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a whole new system. A
Yeah.
whole new world.
Jez is here today.
She's coming in singing, and I know that she is obsessed, as all of us are obsessed, with this submersive story because it seems like an uncommon horror. And I did not let Billy unspool a thought that he had yesterday because the fear of it is so large that I don't want to just turn this immediately into content without regard for what these people are experiencing if they're still alive. But it's fascinating for a number of different reasons, not the least of which is who chooses to do this when this is the risk. None of us would choose to do this if we knew that this was the risk. But Billy was saying yesterday, you're a billionaire. You've won at life.
Just do nothing.
Why would you risk it by going to see a famous shipwreck?
Well, he also went to space not too long ago. Like, there's plenty of things to do on Earth. Why do you have to be going into space and undersea? Like, I don't get it. Is that CBS News video, like, real? Like, that's the actual, like, vessel that he was in that is, like...
It's 21 feet long, and there's no room to sit down, really.
How do they fit 5 people in there?
It's smaller than the shipping container, the original shipping container.
But it's controlled by a remote control. It has an elevator button, which is useless because there's no elevator
You're
shaft.
going 2 miles down into the sea, and I've read some about this. I read a book one time about what it's like to get the bends. All scuba stuff scares me because
Was it David McCullough's Brooklyn Bridge biography?
it was a sunken ship book off of, I don't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up. It's one of the best books I've read, but I read it 20 years ago.
See, that's what rich people do. They read books about experiences.
thought
They
you were gonna say
don't actually do those things.
The Apple
What's
VR
the
headset's
need?
$3,500. Get that and go down to the Titanic.
Exactly
Very
right.
simple.
You're looking through like a little tiny like window that's like not even. It's smaller than a window on an airplane. What's the point of that?
Let me explain this. So you go 2 miles down into the sea to see the most historic shipwreck. People are fascinated by shipwrecks, and they also think of the sea being even more unexplored somehow than space. You go down in a material that can withstand huge amount of pressure, but you're not going to really be able to open anything in a panic from inside of the vessel because you're trapped in what Cody was calling yesterday a nautical casket, a coffin, if something goes wrong. And we're reading now that while this isn't experimental, you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars and sign a waiver that on the first sheet says death 3 different times because they're sending you down with a remote control waiver to go see a shipwreck in a vessel that's 21 feet. The bathroom is very small and useless. There are no real seats. And it seems like a 2.5-hour horror to just drop to the bottom of the sea. That's what those people are trapped in with what now is less than 24 hours of breathable air.
What if the window's fogged? Like you go down there for nothing. Like if you go scuba diving, you have to do that thing where like you take off your mask and you spit in it, and then you go like this, and then you have to put it up against your face, and then water gets in, and you have to blow out with your nose so that the water shoots out the side. It's like a whole thing. But you can't do that.
They
in
might have the
submarine.
defogger spray from Sunglass
That doesn't
Hut.
work. Yeah, that doesn't work.
Billy is right, though. It's one window, right?
He's right.
It's a tiny porthole. This company also, there's been evidence that has come out now since this happened that they've been sued by one person who was a whistleblower who knew that this, wasn't safe, and they tried to fire him, and then he was like, this is not safe, and I don't want to take manned crews down there. There's been other lawsuits of people that have paid for the trip that didn't get to go on the trip, which, by the way, I would be pretty relieved if I were that guy today. I'd be like, you know what? It's all good. They can keep my money. I think it's one of those things where most people can't fathom having $250,000 to spend on something so reckless and just doesn't seem to have a pretty big payoff for anyone. But you do feel bad because how just like horrible the thought is of being trapped in this thing. But I think where like the ire comes in is for this company who is charging these people absorbent amounts of money for something that is just not safe by any standard. It is just not a safe vessel.
Evidently, James Cameron was the only one who had been to these depths experimentally before this particular project began, that has been in business for years and made a lot of money for years. And now one would assume the business is over. One would assume that what is going...
There's always a comeback story, Dan.
Exactly.
The CEO is one of the missing people.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why you build a business with infrastructure, so you can do stuff and then walk away and then have the business run itself.
How would you run a business?
Like that.
I
Build
would
it
love,
up and then-
I would love to run a business like that. I wish I could create one.
I mean, there was a pandemic, so
Yeah,
it's hard to...
Pandemic.
Like
kind
building a
of
plane
thing.
mid-flight, some say.
Yeah.
Jessica, you're fascinated by which details? Because
All of it. I mean, I think I talked a little bit about this on Golic and Smetty this week. Check out Golic and Smetty wherever you get your podcasts. My show with Mike Golic. Well, first 15 minutes of the show, we talked about this a bit. There's a subsection of people, I think specifically young girls who grew up in the 90s around the time that Titanic came out that are obsessed with the Titanic. This is a thing that I know a lot of people who are just obsessed with the wreckage of the Titanic, the movie The Titanic, all of the things about the Titanic, the making of the Titanic. And it's like when something that you are or were obsessed with when you were a little kid comes back into the public and you know a little bit about it, you kind of latch onto it. And then I also think there's just a subsection of people that it truly doing this is unfathomable to them. So like the human interest level is just peaking off the charts. And to me, a former Titanic enthusiast, I went to the Titanic exhibit at the Chicago Museum of Science and Industry. Wow. Fantastic exhibit. They give you a little card. Those are my bona fides. They give you a little card. I was 8 years old. It has a person's name on it, and you walk in and you go through the exhibit, and then at the end you find out if your little person on your card survived or not. Did you? Everyone in my family died except my sisters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Billy,
That's
Mike,
interesting.
Mike thinks of himself as the world's foremost Titanic expert. I think we're going to have a Titanic off between Mike and Jessica.
Can I ask you a question? Why do we romanticize the Titanic? It was a giant
it's
bust.
a great question.
It sucked. It was a tiny. If you look at it by cruise ship standards now, it was a tiny garbage ship. It didn't even last one sailing. Crashed into an iceberg. Which how did that even happen?
Overrated.
And it was overrated. It was a disaster.
Famous
The
only
reason-
because
Why
it
don't we?
failed.
Why don't we
reason why-
romanticize the Hindenburg?
Well, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, it is the
It was
idle
a
folly of
disaster.
the
The
wealthy.
Titanic was.
Complete disaster. One of the biggest maritime disasters in human history, but also the
I could literally build a cruise ship that goes on as many successful sailings as the Titanic,
The-
if not more.
Billy, the
It
Titanic
just have to be one.
We do this all the time,
It
though.
was lost for decades.
Yeah,
it was found
please.
very recently. So the appeal, the mystery of the Titanic and what happened and how it crashed and everything like that, it's all somewhat recent history, right? And a number of extremely wealthy, famous people at the time died. It is in the pilot episode of Downton Abbey. They find out that their cousin, I believe one of the heirs to Downton Abbey, died on the Titanic. And it was a monumental thing at the time period because it was an unsinkable ship that sank.
We always revel when the
Allegedly.
biggest thing fails, be it the Titanic because it was the biggest and best.
Here comes the joke.
What?
Or the heat.
The
or
Hindenburg?
Mike Ryan.
No, I was gonna go with the Brooklyn Nets and Quibi. Do you remember Quibi?
I signed up for like a free trial of Quibi, and then it was like you have 6 months of Quibi, or I may have paid.
Please don't
something.
undercut my jokes.
Well, I'm just saying. I signed
No. I
up
was
for
talking to Dan. I want to hear your Quibi story.
Well, it went away right away, and I,
I
had a
have
quibble
much.
with
I have.
Quibi.
I have much tighter windows over here, and you can't just suck the air out of my punchlines.
It's a tough
Especially with the
seat.
wrong
Got it.
team.
Welcome to Billy's world. Jessica, you were also sped up there for reasons that are both enthusiasm and nobody gets to talk very long around here.
Yes, that also. I want to put this out there because it sounds like I'm morbidly curious about this like tragedy. I am. Don't get me wrong, but I also it is a tragedy. It is very sad.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hold on.
Not yet.
What
It's
do you-
currently a mystery. It hasn't turned to tragedy yet.
I'm hopeful that
Are the
everyone,
latest reports right?
I don't-
That there's
Yes.
a pinging sound that
Yes.
people can hear something.
Yeah, 30-minute intervals, and then 4 hours later, they caught pinging from presumably inside the hull. This is the military operations because we've mobilized a lot of Coast Guard resources and military resources. The thing about all of this is they find the sub, and then it gets complicated.
It's bolted from the outside. So yeah, these people on board can't, even if they've come up to the surface, they can't get themselves out of it, which is also horrifying.
And you can't just bring them up quickly. So say they find them with 2 hours to spare. It takes 2 hours to safely get them up to the surface. What happens?
The whole thing it's bizarre. It's insane. And
I'm asking Dan because I read a book on the bends.
Oh yeah, let us know.
Well, the fascination of shipwrecks. I will look up the title of the book.
They're at cabin pressure though inside the hull. They're at sea level pressure.
It's pressurized. Right? It's like going on an airplane. Like you don't get there.
Finding them, as Mike Ryan is saying, is a source of great relief that only begins now the rescue because there are an assortment of difficulties. You can't just move somebody from inside that vessel into another chamber and be safe. Like you can't at that distance of water. It's just most materials can't exist back there at that depth. That's why submarines are made of some of the stuff they're made of.
And how do you grab it? How do you bring it to the surface? Someone going to swim out and hook it like Wayne Knight in Jurassic Park? No, they're not going to do that. Do we have like some sort of scooper mechanism on one of our subs that can grab it? How do we bring it to the surface once we locate this tomb?
Because that's what we're fascinated by, right? It's like because I'm not comfortable with it either, Jessica. The examining of the mortality of all this while the people are still alive and losing breathable air.
Yeah, possibly alive. I think I'm most fascinated by what Billy was saying earlier, which is having this much money in cash to spend on anything you want, and you want to go on an experimental submarine vessel to the bottom of the ocean with it.
You got to buy Twitter instead. I'm looking at the graphic on Get Up, and I cannot deny that this is exceptional television, great television, pioneering television. I'm not even making it up. You would stop and look at what it was on Get Up graphically, and it just said, Victor Wembanyama's hands are very big. And then they showed you his hand holding a baseball.
It's a hell of a change-up grip he has there.
It is startling. But of course, his hands are very big. He's 7'4", and somebody made a bet on DraftKings for $60,000 to win $300 that he would be the first pick tomorrow. $60,000 to win $300.
$300.
$300. You bet $60,000 to win $300 on him being the first pick.
For that, you go $1 million, right?
Good luck collecting that at the bottom of the ocean.
Let's continue this conversation
Too soon.
It is too soon to make jokes about some of this stuff. I'm horrified for these people, but I am fascinated. I've got the same morbid curiosity that Jessica does.
Do you remember when we did a podcast 2 summers ago when the first like civilian flight to space was happening and we were still on like a little bit of a delay, so we were like, let's wait and see, make sure everyone gets back to Earth safely before we publish this, because we were all watching it together live on TV at the same time.
That was a fun, weird day.
It was a fun show, I will say. This
Yeah.
feels like the stakes are much different, much higher, much worse. This is something that has only been done before by a few people, and
The stakes are the same, really, though. We thought we were watching people go to space and that they were going to possibly die, blow up or float off, or something would go wrong, because privatized space travel is something that is about as exclusive as what we're talking about here, which is privatized sea travel. It's the same thing, same consequences, same risk.
Same stakes, I guess. It felt different because it felt like a more like legitimate venture, whereas like this is something most of us hadn't heard of till now. So it's kind of like a weird curiosity. And now I would like to put on the record that I am
Hold on.
untimely death.
Okay.
I'm
It's
putting
noted.
that on the record because there seems to be a large amount of people that are like, well, if you're going to do something this reckless, it's kind of like if you get in like a skydiving accident. It's like, well, what did you expect? And it's like, well, probably,
I wasn't expecting to die.
Probably not to die, or else you wouldn't have done it. I think that it is bizarre to be like, well, what did you knew this was a risk, right? Why'd you do that? It's like maybe they didn't really know that this was.
Well, you don't
likely
think
of
the
a risk.
details are, and it's a PlayStation controller. Like, and
They had to know that before they got in, right? Like, there's no way that they got in and then they were like looking around and like, oh my god, like this handle's from Home Goods. Like, what are we
Camping
doing
World.
right now?
There
Yeah,
should not be a
that's
bowl
crazy.
game named after where you're getting parts for your prototype submarine that's going to the bottom of the ocean.
There's somebody that's getting away scot-free in this whole situation. Nobody's talked about him. Nobody said anything about him. How did the guy who was controlling the little submarine with the PlayStation controller, how did he lose the sub?
Where is that person?
How does that guy not get like, hey, guy, where's the sub? And
Yeah.
oh, I don't know.
You have one
I lost
job.
it.
Don't lose the sub.
we are not going to just gasbag about this. We're going to talk to an expert later in the show. Also a show that includes Chris Paul about what is happening right now to get details about submersives and submarines that we don't know. Because
Chris Paul is the expert?
No, I tried to camouflage that, but I knew you would be there for me. No, Chris Paul is not the expert that we will talk
That'd
to
be wild.
about the submersive. Yes, that would be crazy. That's not what we're going to talk to him about, though.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Let me not. Never mind. Continue.
I mean, what was the point?
Well, because what happens is I ask a question and then it comes up later and then I look like a jerk. Yeah. But I didn't intend for that to be the case. We're in it though, so I'll ask you. Why are you scheduling a book release like right after the NBA finals? Because like if you don't win, you're going to get criticized for writing a book during the season and putting it out and all that. The timing wise just seems like, could we not wait like a season to put out that book?
Oh, you think that Chris Paul has erred by putting out a biography before his career is over when he's in the center of the news, that there's a bad time for him to capitalize on his brand toward the end of his career by telling you his life story beyond basketball? You think it's a look at me bad move?
I just, the career's almost over. Let's wait a year. I think he put out like 2 books this year, right? I think he put out like a children's book too. I could have been reading the book internet wrong, but I think that that's the case. I think this is like his 2nd or 3rd book that he puts up.
Did you do that on purpose, where you just moved it from the submersive over to Chris Paul and the take that his book is coming out on the bad time, or did you do that by accident?
I don't know. I just did it, man. I'm just here. I'm just trying to get to Wednesday afternoon, then Thursday, then Friday.
Okay,
like the
so
rest of us.
do you want? I want this interview with Chris Paul to go well. Do you want
I
to
do
start,
too. That's
do you
why I
want to
regret
start-
asking
do you-
that question.
Do you
No,
want
I
to
don't.
start it by asking
Absolutely
him
not.
why are you doing this right now, and
No.
just starting with a criticism?
Now you see why it is that I immediately said, let me not ask this question. Let's just move on with the rest of the show. And really, the person that should be talking to Chris Paul, if anyone, is Stu Gatz. Like, that's the person that should be in here. He really did skate on this one because he's been talking mad S for the last couple of years about this guy. And now where is he?
Well,
Here he is.
How can we do this with Chris Paul, since he's here to sell a book, and since these transactions are always a little bit uncomfortable for me? Because one of the reasons I botch all these interviews is at least in part because I expect the guest to come on and entertain our audience, and the guest expects to come sell the product. And those are 2 different goals. And Chris Paul's interested in selling his book, and I'm interested in making Chris Paul interesting. And sometimes I do dumb shit, or we as a show do dumb shit, and then publicists never want to talk to us again.
Can we vow to not do dumb shit today? Let's have a pact. All of us. Let's not do anything dumb with.
But you're in charge today. It's a different seat, right? Mike's in that small window where he can't yammer and contaminate the show with his poisons of talking too much, and you're in the seat where you're controlling.
Yeah.
Whether
but you're uncontrollable.
But you're uncontrollable.
How
that's
dare
true.
you? What do you mean?
Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. I'll throw it in the room. Who's more uncontrollable, me or Billy?
But I'm fun uncontrollable. There was a word for me in Spanish that I was told today. But
Bofe.
Yeah.
Bofa.
Bueno, explícalo.
Well, bofe means like kind of like a lovable oaf for somebody that kind of bothers you, but you like them, right? But you can have somebody who's pesado, who's bothering you, but you don't like them, right? So Billy's un bofe. He's a guy that, okay, we kind of just
Then
deal
he
with
is
him,
a
but we like
dog.
him.
That sounds like
No,
a
he's an evil
description of a
Dog.
dog.
Thank
No,
you.
it's an evil cat.
Finally, someone gets it.
I mean, Stugatz, isn't he the same thing?
Stugat's also un bofe
No,
because
don't
he's
put me
somebody
in
that
category.
we like.
But you've been in that category. You were trying to distance yourself from that category yesterday. That's the category. The category is likable Buffet. Yeah.
I had a conversation with someone else that works here when I was told that I'm un bofe, and I said, how is it that everybody's wrong? It just doesn't make sense to me. How does everybody here just not get it? Who are these people you're employing, Dan, that nobody seems to get it? Everyone's wrong but me. It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Something about that chair.
I have an eye twitch now. I know we're not talking about that.
That also comes with the chair.
Drink some water.
It's been 2 days now with this eye twitch, and I don't know what's going on. I'm
Chair.
worried that my eyeball's going to fall out
I've
of my
had one
head.
that's lasted months before.
Which eye?
My right eye, like the
Mine's my left
bottom
eye.
lid.
R.I.P.
My eye's been twitching since 2016.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know what's caused it. I don't know how to stop it. It's
I know,
weird.
I know what caused it.
Really?
Just
I have a pretty
sitting
good
there-
idea.
Just sitting there 15 minutes ago is what you think caused the eye twitch. How long have you had the eye twitch?
It started yesterday, but I was back there yesterday. But it happened here when I first got it, and I was like, that's not good.
Yep, this is where it happened.
And then it happened to me at home, too, and I go, oh, gosh.
Residuals from here.
Yeah. Did you do anything to solve your eye twitch? Is that why the sunglasses are on?
Lexapro.
What
You're
is
supposed
that?
to eat a banana. Potassium deficiency could be a reason, but
Water,
I
drink
it
water,
could
you're
also just be a
dehydrated.
That's
spasm
not-
from stress.
You don't drink water, Billy. You need to drink water.
I don't need
You
water.
need to no. What you need to do
Don't
is
worry about water.
visualize water.
Huh.
My father, thank you, Tony. You just delivered with the same frustration to Billy that I have to my father. My father has been drinking crappy kind of Publix brand store, Winn-Dixie brand store diet orange soda.
Check.
Oh.
Check.
Check.
RC?
Yeah.
No, but he's been drinking that as his liquid for 50 years, and I'm like, Bobby, that
There's
is
water
not
in
good
there.
for you.
There's water in
Bobby,
there.
that's not good for you. That's not good for your insides. The Winn-Dixie brand orange diet drink. That's been his water. That's
Agent
what.
Orange.
But that's what Billy does. Billy.
No, I go for the.
Billy?
That's the one place where I go for the marca. You know what I mean?
That is
Coca-Cola
true.
or
That is-
bust.
You
Sunkissed. Oh,
Here's the thing about Billy.
dude, I got Sunkissed at BJ's 24 cans for $8. That's
Get
30
water,
cents a can.
Brother, all your ailments and all the things that plague you is because you don't drink any water.
No, false.
Okay.
Can I
there
tell
it
you
is.
We should
something?
get you a
Everybody's
Stanley
wrong
Cup.
except him.
I have
talking to
it's
Billy.
because Dan's employed all these people that just tell everybody the wrong things. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I don't get it. Here's the thing. I downloaded this app called Yuka the other day, right?
What?
Yeah, it's not what you think. It's
What?
Hubba
It's not what I think. Huh?
It's Yuka.
No, I heard what you said.
YUKA, and you scan products, and it tells you on a scale of 1 to 100 if it's good or bad for you. And then it lists exactly everything in it that is bad for you. And I got bad news for everybody here. Everything's bad for you.
Yeah.
Nothing is good for
You
you.
should scan this studio. Let me know what it says.
I'll scan it. Give me something to scan. I'll give you the
Dan.
number. Give
Just
me
scan Dan's face.
anything with a barcode. Give it to me. I'll scan it. Shampoo. It does shampoo. It does conditioner. It does everything.
What?
Yeah. Yuka. YUAK.
Such a perfect app for
I
you.
can't spell it.
We should get someone to create an app that is a fake app, but we don't tell Billy it's fake. We get him to download it, and
Fap.
the app just reminds him to drink water every couple hours. Because
Yeah,
he
devise an app called FAP.
What's
have
wrong
those
with
might
that?
already be taken.
What's that? Look right here.
Hold it up to people and say, "No, I'm on FAP."
Look, some of you might
BRB, I'm fapping.
some of you might think this Frappuccino is really healthy for
It's
you, right?
not.
That's what
Frappuccino.
Nobody ever thought
it's a
that.
gag. 30 out of 100. Who knew?
I'm fapping right now.
There is an advertisement to build around the FAP campaign of Billy's personal product where he tells you whether things are good or bad for you. I'm pretty sure, though, what Tony is saying, I'd like to go back to what you said, which is employing people who say the wrong things everywhere. We do have a lot of those. But I do believe that what Tony said is correct and universally agreed upon, that drinking water is good for you.
Please. Lazy take. Everybody says that.
Show Poppy one of Billy's kidney stones to get him off the
Can I
weird
just-
generic
You know who
brand
don't
orange
have
soda.
kidney stones? People that drink water.
Yep.
Can I just tell you guys something?
No.
I passed a kidney stone on Sunday.
What?
Yeah, on Saturday I ended up in the ER, and it was like right after an episode of Mystery Crate where I was talking about the cystoscopy that I had to do. I cursed myself.
Dan, do you know what that is?
And on Sunday,
you know what
I
a
had kidney
cystoscopy
stone.
is?
We don't have time.
It's
to
a
get into
camera
that.
up your.
A kidney stone is like the worst pain a male can feel. It's
It's just
supposed to
Saturday
be
for
like labor.
Billy's had 30 of them.
Losing back-to-back finals for me.
Happy Father's Day to me, huh? Birth the stone.
Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports reports that the Trailblazers are ready to make a significant offer for Bam. If that's real, there's only one significant offer the Blazers can make. They have one to make.
No, the number 3 pick.
That's not the offer.
That would be hilarious if this ends with the Blazers getting Bam and the Heat ending up with the number 3 pick and no Lillard.
That's not Riley's way. Like that, if the Blazers are making a significant offer for Bam, they have to know that Lillard is the offer. And then Mike would say, yeah, make the trade. I'm not sure Riley would. I'm not sure Riley would say, yeah, let me go do this with Jimmy and Lillard instead of Jimmy and Bam.
Well, they're going after Bam to pair with Dame because it's a show of good faith to improve the roster. Dame, I believe it when all the reports, because we have all these years to go off of, that Damian wants to stay in Portland and he wants to win a championship in Portland and he wants the Blazers to make an honest effort to improve the team around him. Bam Adebayo, for as much as I rag on him, I think he'd be the best teammate Damian Lillard's ever had, above Aldridge, above C.J. McCollum. So, and we all know from that Showtime show that Damian loves Bam. So make an effort to acquire Bam using that number 3 pick. By all indications are, right now, the focus is to keep Dame and use the number 3 pick to improve the team right now. When that fails, maybe they pivot, and in these conversations, Pat just goes, well, what about Dame?
This is where the structural crossroads is for Portland, and it's how 15 years into player empowerment, it's the only way Dame gets the team he wants in Portland is by putting all the pressure on them to make sure that they're about win right now. But I don't think they have the pieces to make that satisfactory, and I think Lillard will just end up being halfway through this season or next season what Bradley Beal was last season, which is, yeah, I'm here, I'm going to try it with these guys at the Supermax, and then I'm going to be available after a year because I got all mine, and also it didn't work. Lillard's been loyal long enough that the crossroads Portland faces is they have to go get the pieces to satisfy Damian Lillard, but what does that look like? Because the pieces that they want from Miami are the pieces Miami wants to keep in order to have him. Like, that's not a trade Miami's going to make.
They have Simons and the number 3 pick. Like that's enough to get you a superstar to win now to pair with Dame, I think. But we do this every year, and Damian just tucks his head down and says, "Okay, well, I'll keep trying," and then no one talks about him come May.
How can both teams think that they're going to get the other team's star? It doesn't seem like this is going to be a recipe for a successful trade.
That is correct, Billy. But that's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about before Thursday, because transactionally, and we love these things, we went right to Heat in the finals 3 days later. Okay, who else are they going to get? How are they going to get better? What are they going to do? As Pat Riley gives you, it's okay for us to just tinker. Pat Riley said publicly, and Mike, I'm guessing you objected to that. You don't want tinkering. You want immediately to bring in somebody better than Jimmy.
I think the finals showed that they need more. You know, it's a majestic run that I do think was going to ring eternal, but very clearly not good enough to be the champion. Everybody is right when they say you can't win a title with Jimmy Butler as your best player. And he's only getting a year older. He seemingly got old in the middle of that Boston series.
Okay, you keep saying a version of that, but when you say everyone's right about that, if Tyler Hero is what they're paying him to be, if Tyler Hero is Bradley Beal, then Jimmy Butler might be good enough to be your best player.
If Tyler Hero is Bradley Beal is a major
I know,
stretch.
but you're paying him pretty close to what you'd pay. Look, Bradley Beal is the third best player in Phoenix is making that. Your third best player makes what Tyler Hero makes. When you're in a salary cap sport, you're not just fighting the other team on players. You're fighting them with the dollars.
Right. I'd like for Bam to be the third best player because I think then if the Heat get Damian Lillard, I think they're favorites in the East. Don't you?
Lillard and Beal are both better than Tyler Hero. My point on Tyler Hero is you're saying, and everyone's saying now, Jimmy Butler's not good enough, but 3 games ago.
Yeah, I understand.
3 games ago, that's not what was being said.
I understand,
3 of them.
I understand your point about a healthy Tyler Hero. It's one that all fans should cling to when they realize they fell short in the NBA Finals. My counterpoint to that is they made the NBA Finals without Tyler Hero. How important is he?
Well, you need a next step. What do you think?
You certainly need another scorer.
Phoenix is paying $60 million a year because they're saying it's that important. Yep. It's, you know what gets us past Denver? Our third guy's better.
Yep.
That's our third guy.
Their fourth guy is DeAndre Ayton.
But they went 6 games with Denver and won the 2 at home, or won the first 2 at home. We're tied 2-2 Denver, and then say not good enough. We're going to go get Bradley Beal because now they're going to trade Ayton too, right? They're not going to keep Ayton, are they?
Well, we'll see what the market is. I don't know what leverage they have.
You also need somebody to combat with Jokic too. If you're in the West, you need a big body to try and stop him at some point.
Honestly, I came away from that NBA Finals saying, man, Dedmon got his revenge because that was just a big body to throw at Jokic and wear him down.
That can't be your take from the finals. I
have plenty of takes from the finals, but that was one of my takes, which is
they need another body.
Yeah, Dedmon actually won that.
I'm worried about you for a number of different reasons.
I'm being very rational right now.
He
my
looks
voice
fine
is low.
today.
I feel better in this seat, although my kidney is starting to hurt.
Be careful.
Drink some water.
By the way, I've been scanning things in the studio in case you were wondering. Mike, I have bad news for you. I'm not going to name the name because I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
The thing that I drink every morning?
No, the thing that you put on your face is 0 out of 100.
The foundation?
Yeah, it's bad foundation. Not good for you. Now,
Don't eat the foundation.
don't eat the foundation. On the flip side, I'll say this. right here, these Dollar Shave Club, Minty Tingle, One Wipe Charlies.
Ooh.
Never seen it before. 100 out of 100.
Oh, give that to
Eat
me
the
right
wipes.
now.
Eat the wipes.
Eat
Give
the
that to me
These are
right
the
now.
best things
Don't
that
eat
you
the
could
wipes.
Throw
eat.
it back.
Eat these wipes. There's no way that you're going to get anything bad out of eating one of those wipes.
Wait, let me see if it says don't eat the wipes.
Don't
on
eat the
back.
wipes at home. Mike will eat the wipes exclusively here on the show.
For external
not-
use only.
Oh, I mean,
Let's live dangerously, right?
external use. I mean,
Didn't you say you were going to eat
Sometimes you gotta
toilet
get internal.
paper for
I did.
some bet?
I did,
Oh,
thanks.
you did?
is that
Eat
what
it?
Following
fapping
along.
is?
Okay.
That's what you guys.
Oh,
If your take from the finals is Deadman would have made a difference, I am.
he's not wrong,
That's
Dan.
not my,
Is
that's
he
not my
wrong?
only take
Yeah, I don't
from the
think he's
finals.
Imagine if Zeller was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
They got a chance at that
Imagine
point,
if
right?
you will.
Come on.
No, but in the same segment where, well, how much does Hero really matter? I get, well, Deadman would have mattered. Okay. If that's that analysis by itself is bad enough, but not quite as bad. All the money we're paying Mike Ryan to be an analyst who is smart at the microphone, not quite as bad as yesterday, which you did not get made fun of enough, which is as if you were saying something that was enlightened. You told our audience, Colin Cowherd had it right. Denver just had more dudes, was your analysis.
Yeah, and I got sent to the penalty box
It's a good take.
It's
for
such
correctly
shit as a
attributing
take.
a quote.
It's such shit as a take.
That's
Need
not
more
my
dudes.
take. That's why I put it
No,
on Colin Cowherd.
You
I
put it on
can't-
Cowherd, but you wore it like a shield. You were afraid.
He was
to say-
right.
You were afraid to say it for yourself.
I
Co-
agreed
he
with
co-signed.
him. I
At
didn't
best,
want.
he
I didn't want to
co-signed.
steal someone's take. That's not what we do here.
But
I
you
mean-
thought it, Mike, right?
Is he
you
wrong,
thought that
though?
he needs more dudes.
I thought they needed more dudes back in May. I thought they needed more dudes before anyone. Wow. You sold my take.
Did they, Dan? Did they have enough?
Well,
dudes?
evidently they needed Deadman. They needed more.
Don't do what you're
Dudeman.
doing right now, which is boiling every bit of analysis that I have about that to Deadman.
I mean,
You did this once when I mentioned Kendrick Perkins made a difference for Boston, and you just you haven't let
He
me
got
down.
ball sacked, by the way. Said Kendrick Perkins.
Oh.
He said on his show something that he read on Twitter that was from like a
he said
fake
Kuminga
account.
was 7'2".
Yeah.
I've been doing
he had
some.
a 5-inch growth spurt.
I've been doing some research on the draft, and Wembanyama, not good.
At basketball? At
Yeah.
first pitch wasn't good.
No.
But the hand explains it. It's hard to get a good grip on the baseball when your
He was
hand's
holding
that
a
big.
golf ball, it looked like.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's the picture you were talking
His
about before.
fingernails, if you were to paint his fingernails
Great
with
fingernails.
nail polish, you have to use one little tube per nail, right? They're
I-
humongous.
I don't know.
They're so big.
I take your word for it. I don't.
Mike Ryan has now had the takes on Wembanyama because he's going the other way on having takes
think he's
different
bad?
from everyone else. He said he's going to
He
get
got
hurt.
swept. He got swept in the finals. I think he's going to get hurt. He's a turnover machine. And what do you think he shoots from three? Take a guess. He takes a lot.
8%.
Oh, you think 30%? I'd kill if he shot 30%. Man, woo! Draft that guy number one.
He is not yet good from three, just like Giannis is not yet good from three. They can grow into that over
If you
5 or 6
like
years.
project his turnovers, especially to a much more competitive league, he has a shot. If they decide to make him a ball handler at the NBA level, he has a shot to be the most turnover prone player in the league.
Mike, he's 19.
Yeah.
He's going to grow into his body. He's going to grow into his mindset of how to play basketball, of
you
how to
do-
learn,
cool.
especially from Pop. Like,
You do the forecasting. I'll tell you right now, this player not good.
you probably said the same thing about Giannis when the Bucks drafted him.
Yeah, he wasn't good at that point. It took him
Whoever's
And now he's
editing
one of
this
the best
hour,
players in the league.
mark all
you
of
do
that.
the forecasting. I'll tell you what it is right now. You tell me what it's going to be. I'll tell you what it is.
This is Mike Ryan.
Someone put this on Twitter,
It's gonna be on his
please.
tombstone. It's gonna read on his tombstone. You tell me what it's
Serial
gonna be.
truth teller.
I'll tell you what it is.
You should place
That's a good take.
Place a bet on DraftKings today that he's not going to be there.
Serial truth teller is going to go on my tombstone.
You should make a bet on DraftKings. Is Wembanyama going to get hurt? Will he be bad? Is he already bad at basketball, and he's going to be bad? The most surefire prospect since LeBron.
The most surefire torn Achilles I've ever seen in my entire life.
There it is.
I wish that evil on him, Ricky
Jeez.
Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm not wishing that evil on him.
That in the universe.
I mean, at
I
this
think
point
you want him
are.
to fail.
At this
You
point,
want
you
him to
are.
fail.
I
You're
do
right.
it just because I'm the only person with this plot of land. Yeah. No, I do want him to fail now because I'm the only anti-Wemby guy.
You're staking out your position early.
What? I was right about Chet Holmgren's legs.
That Holmgren.
I was right about his legs.
Okay, so just to be clear, your take now is that spindly 7'1" inflatable car wash men might get hurt because basketball's hard and I think the Achilles might snap. That's your take.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay.
I'm done talking for this segment, by the way. I've reached my allotment.
I mean, it is. It's a great take. It's a great take. It's indisputable that, yes, if you look like Porzingis, all those joints and elbows and stuff, something might snap in your foot. Yes.
Something maybe might happen to you.
Yes.
Oh,
And we can't prove it. And
It
then,
will.
No, it will.
It will. I guarantee it.
No, and I
guarantee it.
understand. And when he's writhing on the ground because this great hope has dismantled in front of your face, Mike Ryan's going to be doing a victory lap with a flag. I got it right. I was the first one who said anywhere that he was going to get a career-ending injury. We're supposed to have Chris Paul here in the next segment. He is selling a book that Billy thinks his timing is very poor on selling right now.
I don't remember saying that.
I don't remember him saying that either.
Thank you. This is one of those classic something spun out of control, then it's relayed to a guest, words are put in my mouth, and then
I think Chris said that actually the other day, Chris Cody.
that makes sense.
But he's not here, so
I guess we just shouldn't address it. It wouldn't be fair to Chris.
Stugatz is skating by not being here. I'm going to have to sort of crystallize and cube his lifelong criticism of Chris Paul and hand it over and get Chris Paul
That I remember.
commentary
He's
on
in the
it.
Zoom. He's in the Zoom.
We will get to
Don't let him hear us.
Chris Paul in about 15 minutes. I've always admired him at being the very top of excellence when it's hard to get to the top of excellence. But Jessica, we have sort of lost her here with the end of the Panthers and Heat craziness. She has succumbed to just disaster following, whether it's a submersive in the bottom of the ocean or I-95 falling apart in Philadelphia. Jessica is just consuming disasters with morbid curiosity.
there's a lot going on in the world, Dan, including I was sick for 8 days. That was terrible. Don't get sick, everyone. Be careful. Wash your hands. I'm okay now, Billy. Don't worry. This was before
Scanner
I
with
saw
your
you
Yuka.
last.
Yeah. Whoa.
Honestly, right now, probably 85 out of 100, but like 2 weeks ago, 0 out of 100.
Dan, are you
It
the
was
one that
bad.
drinks the oat milk that's here?
Yes.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
A lot of seed oils in that, Dano.
I hate to tell
Seed
you.
oils.
Your oat milk, poor. 48 out of 100.
Wow.
I'll
I mean,
find you an alternative.
They do put some filler in milks these days.
Really?
I will say. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a few brands that are just regular oat milk. I don't like added sugar in my oat milk. I like drinking things that aren't super sugary. Some of them they just have a
I
boatload
think,
of
though,
sugar in.
if Billy were to do Yucca for any other kind of milk, I mean, I suppose soy and almond and oat
Depends
milk
on the
would
brand.
be least bad.
No, it depends on the brand. Some of them just have additives. Anyways, I digress. The Phillies played the I-95 live stream of the reconstruction of the bridge that collapsed recently at a game last night on the Jumbotron, unless I got ball sacked, which, let's be honest, it's happened before. But I just think it's phenomenal that people are so invested in this infrastructure project. This bridge collapsed like a week ago because a truck was on fire underneath, and it caused it to collapse. It was a major infrastructure disaster, but luckily no one was hurt. And they were able to rebuild it so fast because it turns out when there are, things that impede commerce and easy travel for people that are inconvenienced, we can actually rebuild things very quickly in this country, which I
It was
admire.
shocking how quickly it was.
And-
I thought it was going to be something. Wasn't originally reported that it was going to be a problem for Philadelphia
This is gonna take months. Oh my God, this is a major disaster.
Well-
They're like, oh well, we're gonna just dedicate a little bit of resources to something, and we're gonna fix it. And I love how many people enjoyed watching this bridge being rebuilt, because I think there is one thing that people love that I've noticed, especially on TikTok, which is videos of things being fixed or cleaned. People just love to see that. People love to see houses being built in fast forward motion.
Yeah.
People love to see videos of power washers and the Bissell steam shot, which, by the way, as soon as that thing's back on Amazon, I am buying it because those videos are crazy.
On the opposite end, do you watch the hydraulic press that crushes
Oh, I
everything?
love the hydraulic press.
Dan, do you watch the hydraulic press?
No, I've not been captivated by this.
But the
way you-
hydraulic press is, for me, it's only good when there's something mushy that
Yes.
comes out in like the big
Yeah.
strings.
Ooh,
You know
yeah,
what I
the
mean?
one that has they use the press
and it
that has
goes
the little holes and it shoots out like confetti. Oh, Dan.
The things that explode, I'm like when they put a ball under them,
Yeah,
I don't care
string,
about that.
thread. You don't want to see thread
Yeah.
be exploded by a hydraulic press. Boring.
When Jessica mentions just general apocalyptic things that are happening all over the world, because we've been talking about a submersive, but another boat calamity, Pakistani people fleeing war, 300 deaths at sea. Like, you read things happening in the universe, there's a lot of bad stuff happening. We haven't even talked that much about the climate stuff happening everywhere.
We've talked a lot about that.
Not enough. Not enough.
Wait, you should ask your app, like, put it up to the sky and see
To
what
the
it
sky?
says. Yeah. Will it give you, like, the air quality index rating?
AQI. Oh, don't get me started on that. Dan, I will tell you that you do have an oat milk in there that's 88 out of 100. I'll point you in that direction. So you have a good oat milk in there.
I
or a bad
want
one.
this Yucca. I want you to sell and shill on behalf of Yucca as a product. This is perfect for you. What are you laughing
Feldman.
about? What are you laughing about, Tony? Him going around just scanning whether. What do you mean with Tony? Why are you laughing like this? What is so funny to you?
We use the word yucca so liberally, and to me it means something different.
Tell us
is
what
it?
it means.
What does it
Every
mean?
time you say it,
What
For
does
me, it means
Dia?
noche buena.
Yeah, what does it mean?
It's just some fried potato. That's all.
that's
Yeah.
it. That's
That's
a
a
fried-
starch.
Yeah, it's a starch.
Is
It's
that
very
good?
fried
Is yucca
starch.
good
Very
for you?
starchy. Yeah.
Yucca sometimes can be very good for
I
you.
have a
depending.
huge yucca in my apartment.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Should we do refran del dia? But as
Way to
we
go, Lehman.
as we look everywhere for
Lehman.
symbols and signs that the universe is tearing apart at the seams, how about Harvard Medical
More
School?
like Peeman.
Harvard Medical School selling body parts.
Yeah. How about the people buying the body parts? Because my favorite of this report is confirmation that sometimes you can judge a book by the cover. Because right now on our video, you can see an image of one of the people that bought organs. Was this the person that purchased via Venmo with the topic line, brains with multiple S's? I'm being told this is the person that bought organs on from Harvard via Venmo with the subject line, brains.
Billy, for the audio audience, do you want to explain what this person looks like? Appears to have 5 or 6 horns, right? And a bald head, has tattooed devices made to look like spikes into his head.
Well, those are piercings, not tattooed devices.
Yeah.
But those are, he literally has
I've never
horns.
seen those piercings. Forgive my
He's got
ignorance. there.
spacers in his ears, like Chester from Lincoln Park. He's got multiple lip piercings. Oh, and he tattooed his eyeball to be black, and half of his face is
Oh, is that
like,
what he did to
like
it?
scaly.
He's got nice eyes.
Does have kind eyes.
One kind eye. The
Guess
other
what?
one is tattooed.
They say it's true. You can't judge a book.
He, on his right side of his face.
You
the ta-
just judged Chris Paul's book, though. Or, I mean, Chris Cody. Sorry.
Yeah, Chris Cody did that, as I remember.
The tattoo on the right side of his face is meant to recreate skeleton. To recreate what? What is the tattoo that
It looks
encompasses
like
the whole?
reptilian. It looks reptilian. Yeah, those look like scales.
Oh, it's been confirmed to be reptilian in my headset.
That's great, Billy.
I wanna know who the
appreciate-
expert
no,
in the
I
control
no,
room is.
please,
I bet it was
Billy.
Lewis.
Billy, yes, thank you, Billy.
What do you think he used the brains for? His own research, or
We should add a
Lewis?
few allegedlys in here, I think.
allegedly?
We
The
should-
dude put in the Venmo subject header brains.
You know, I saw the Lizard Man in person one time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Former celeb prognosticator. I
Yeah,
believe.
he was. I mean, he was like a
Really?
friend of the show. He was on here a couple
Yeah.
times, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a great
you-
radio bit.
He was.
Can you, for those in the audience, I know who the Lizard Man is,
Yeah.
but can you, for the people in the audience,
Donald
who's the
Sterling.
Lizard Man?
I mean, similar.
No, he's my right-hand arm man.
Yeah, similar to this gentleman, he, wanted to look reptilian, and he had his tongue, I think, was split, and he could move both sides independently, which is like crazy. How do you even learn to do that? I guess once they cut it with a laser, you figure it out. And then he actually had like, what was the word that you used? He had tattoo devices kind of put in that were like bumps
me.
on his head, like it was, and he was tattooed completely like a lizard, and he was performing at Halloween Horror Nights when I was waiting in line to go into one of the haunted houses. I think he swallowed a sword or something.
What?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
You should put your Yucca app up to him.
Yeah.
Yucca.
What was that?
Yucca?
Yucca.
Yeah, Yucca.
Yucca's a different thing.
Aqua?
Mike Ryan,
Fap?
do you have a top 5 list for me
What's
of?
Yucca?
I've never felt older than calling those tattoo devices that are horns, but I didn't know those were piercings. I don't. He's got 5 or 6 horns in his head that I called tattoo type devices. Do you have a top 5 list of things that make you feel old so I can move away from how old I feel?
I thought you'd never ask, Dan. I put together over the weekend a top 5 things that made me feel old over the weekend. OLI is I got every single Easter egg in The Flash. Every single one. That's old. Oh, the Keaton stuff is so great. But then I realized that movie was released in 1989. Yeah. All right, so here's number 5. Lotto is getting a personal trainer instead of a second round of plastic surgery. Number 4, Livy Rising Baby Gronk. I pretended like I knew what you guys were talking about, but initially I thought that was all just one name and a SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah. That was a big episode for us.
Yeah.
Youth.
Number 3, XQC signing a $100 million deal with Kick.
None of those words are in the Bible.
Well, that person, what was that, like a Twitch or YouTuber, famous YouTuber, or what
It's a famous video game Twitcher, and he signed an exclusive $100 million deal with Kick. Yeah. That is XQC.
That's huge.
Signing with Kick. Yeah, made me feel old. Number 2, NBA YoungBoy warning John Gotti III's sister not to disrespect him.
Don't disrespect NBA YoungBoy.
I saw NBA YoungBoy on my timeline, and I thought they were talking about Wembanyama.
But do you not know anything? Neither do I. NBA YoungBoy.
Very popular.
Ages
apparently.
you out.
Yeah, I'm not into NBA YoungBoy. And number 1, Blueface telling his baby mama he will adopt Christian Rock's baby.
Where were you when you heard that news, Dan?
Well, you can imagine if these things make Mike feel old. You can imagine how I'm feeling about Lizzie and Baby Gronk. You guys seem to enjoy.
Happy trails, by the way. Baby Gronk retired.
It's Livy.
Yeah, it's a fine.
How you guys seem to enjoy how
Lizzie is
yes.
the lizard guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. I don't remember interviewing him. How is that possible?
You did not interview Livy.
No,